something. So, okay, it is said, good to go. So, welcome everybody with our next session with our panel discussion on local initiatives. As we are in a bit delay because of the previous sessions, I won't waste time. I just simply introduce our panelists. So we have Kartikeyan Ramamurthy, PMO Global Alliance Ambassador from India. We have another ambassador who is the PMO Leader Ambassador in Greece, who is Emmanouil Papadakis. And actually, we have another ambassador here, who is the PMO Global Alliance Ambassador in Algeria, Abdelbasset Ould Khessa. And we have the co-founder of PMO South Africa, PMO Award South Africa, and the leader of the PMO Award South Africa judging panel in the recent years, and she is Louise Worsley. So welcome everybody. I'm really happy that you are here with us. And first of all, let's talk about what you have done on local levels. What experience you have when we are talking about local initiatives regarding PMOs. So let's say, ladies first. Louise, could you please start?
Start with the only lady. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, I'd like to talk a little bit about what we've done in South Africa and what we've learned from it. We've been going for 5 years now, and we started simply because America reached out to me and said, "Are you going to put a South African PMO into the global awards?" And we went, "What? What would that be?" And at that time, we didn't know. We couldn't find our project offices. Where were they in South Africa? And we didn't know how to contact them at all. But luckily, and I don't know how many of you got this, we did have a PMO forum. We had one which was active in Cape Town and Johannesburg. And that was led by PwC and a group called PPO, who've been doing a fantastic job as our sponsors in identifying PMOs across the country. So when we started 2018, we put up a guinea pig, Stanlib. They won the Africa Award. And since then, we've won the Africa Award 2020 with ShopRite, and last year with City of Cape Town, which is fantastic. But for the first 2 years, we followed the PMO Alliance's approach. We got them to do these massive presentations, which are really important, but they take a lot of time and effort. And we ran a lessons learned with judges and our former participants. And we decided that, in our mind, it wasn't about winning. It was about getting our PMOs to share their learning. And it was about ensuring that we could raise the profile of PMOs in their organizations, nationally and globally. And that meant getting as many PMOs in the room as possible. So what we decided to do, and of course everybody wants to win, but what we decided to do is we needed an approach which encouraged even the smallest PMO and even the newest PMO to come along. So we changed our approach. We didn't use the PMO Global Alliance. We used their judging criteria, but we didn't use their approach. The first round judging session, and we've been running them online for 2 years now, actually was a discussion session online with prepared questions from a panel of judges. So we put a panel of judges, local judges together, and they just had some questions ready and they chatted online, and they used these questions to facilitate that discussion. And of those that they selected, 3 to 4 of them, they went through to create a PMO Global type presentation, but they were all given a mentor, and that was very important for us. Everybody got a mentor attached to them, and the mentor was normally somebody who'd been involved with PMO Alliance before and was a PMO specialist. So each of these PMOs got a mentor. What we did find is that those who used, because not everybody uses their mentor, those that used the mentor usually did better than those that didn't. The final judging round was done with international judges, and I can't thank our judges enough. I think we've got some of the international judges here today, and they were fantastic about providing feedback on how that works. Now, the truth is that what we really got out of this, the first thing was that we got a lot more people involved. So we had the PMOs involved, we had the teams involved, we had their managers involved, we had the panel people involved, we had the international judge involved. So a lot more people benefited from the process than we had done previously. The mentoring experience was seen as a very positive kind of experience. And we got more people coming in because they didn't go through that big process at the beginning. And we did more on social media. We actually promoted our PMOs through social media. But we're left with some challenges. And I think the biggest challenge for any of us, and interesting to see in India, you seem to have so many people involved, but the biggest challenge for us is still to get the PMOs to come forward. And I've got a big why question there, which I'd love to hear from some of you, why perhaps you choose not to enter the PMO competition. I wonder sometimes whether the amazing presentations we are seeing nowadays from the finalists, which are amazing, whether that's putting people off, in fact. Because I think some of our PMOs think that unless you've got an amazing PR department, you can't do this. And we really need to sort that out. There's also the fear of losing, because, actually, if you win, it's fantastic. And if you lose, what's your manager going to think of you? And we need to get through that. We need to help these PMOs not to feel threatened by that. So that's us. We've now got a PMO ambassador. I think he's about maybe Guy who's with us. We have a PMO ambassador who's driving this forward, and they're doing an amazing job. But like all volunteer jobs, and I'm sure you know this, it's the energy you put into it that really matters. So I just hope we can keep that going. But yes, big question, why question for me is, why would you not enter the PMO competition? I'd love to hear from some of you. That's me.
Yeah, just feel free to move on. I think I saw that Kartik has some thoughts on this local awards topic, but as I assume there are much more over there in India on a local level as an initiative. So please move on.
Thanks, Peter. I was smiling when Louise was saying in India we see a lot of people, uh, but it's always the percentage engagement to the overall population. So, and I will say that why question is still there. And in fact, it's one of the reasons we got in looking at doing the awards. But I'll just step back and talk a little bit about how we got here. Uh, I also realized from what Louise was saying that there's a long way to go. So thanks, Louise. I think some of us from India have been engaged with the PMO Global Alliance. Maybe we can go far back to 2018, 2019. That's not very far back, actually. But I think largely many of us started with the hackathon that happened during COVID, and that's quite recent in early 2020. And we realized that, okay, we're a group from the same country. We seem to be interested and excited on all these topics, and so why not we think about it. And I remember a lot of 2017, 18 following, maybe 2018, 2019 following Americo, going around the world doing sessions on PMOCP, and I kept wondering, why isn't he coming to India? And I started, some people started conversation with him on a lighter note. I think Americo decided to go to Pakistan. That was the final trigger for us. I think we said, okay, enough is enough. And then we started. But I think we've worked closely with PMO Global Alliance, and we are part of the PMO Global Alliance as volunteers. And that brought us to the doorstep sometime in 2021 to launch the India Hub. We were quite excited to do that. And so I think our approach is also driven by some of our experiences that Louise was talking about, which is why do we not see enough engagement from PMOs? Why do they not get outside and share their stories? Why are they even reticent sometimes to talk about it. Why do organizations leaders don't uh, endorse? We don't. Why we don't see that being endorsed very strongly? Uh, this is this is the kind of thought and experiences that we had, and obviously it's not to be generalized. There are really good, strong supporters, and that's the reason we move and we are where we are. But that's always been, I think, the thought. So I think our approach in the last 6 7 months, which I would say, I would give the PMO India Hub some credit here in terms of, I think 6 months is not necessarily a very long time, and we have, taken quite a few steps, albeit they're all baby steps. So I think the awards was our first key step, and I think the learning is also. I think the most interesting part was to talk to a lot of the PMOs to understand why they would or why they would not apply. I also, if you look at the larger context in a country like India, uh, I would assume, and I'm just throwing a figure off my head, and I will be short for it, but I would assume that the number of PMOs would be anywhere between 20 to 50,000, and I may be completely off, but I would put that out. If we give that number, then we see the opportunity for the community as a whole. But we obviously didn't see, we don't see that engagement right at the start. So I think it's also the positioning of the PMO function. The value, we go back to the same discussions of what is the value, what is the role, what is the positioning. All those questions come into play. So I think that is the background in which we went into this, and our intent is that we cross that bridge at some point, and I hope it's in the next 2 to 3 years. At least that's what we would like to do. So I think we looked at three or four aspects. One was the awards. We and Abdul was saying that earlier when we were waiting, that we had someone from Algeria, going up to the semifinals. And Abdul, correct me, this was last year maybe. And from India, we've apart from a PMO influencer that was maybe in the top 15, we've not had anyone ever even apply. So it was quite astounding for us. So I think it's also our first intent is to engage, encourage, and bring people out, and that's primarily what we would focus on, and that's what we are doing the PMO awards for, keeping that in mind. And uh, I think the quality of the responses we have seen in the India Awards is quite encouraging, and you would see some of that following into the world categories. So hopefully you will get a sense of that. But clearly, that's something we feel proud about already. And I think we've had two categories, and we've tried a new category. I mean, two categories that PMO Global Alliance has globally, but we've also tried a newcomer category and experimenting with that. I mean, the other briefly, and not to hog time here, but briefly on other aspects, we do have a platform today of sharing, which is PMO Insights, which where we bring speakers to share. Again, our focus there is not on necessarily just concepts, but to bring pragmatic, practical experience to be shared with the rest of the community. And I think there are multiple other ideas that we are toying with, and I think talking to the academia and maybe talking to the corporate side is also on the table. But I think one important point which I will talk about is I think we have felt it's extremely important and an impossible task, but we need to connect one-on-one with the PMO communities. And this is very important. We need to understand the journey of the PMOs. And the awards help here, and I'm sure Louis will have that experience. The awards help here because the story then comes automatically, but then there are a lot of people that are not applying or not there yet, or don't think they have the right journey for the award. And that's the conversation that will build the future. So I think the other part is how do we structure the team that drives this, the set of volunteers? And one thing I would say is organization, I mean, structures that are agile, not very portfolio driven. And Americo will, I think, rap me on my fingers for saying this, but I think not very portfolio driven, but combined, consolidated goals that are common to the hub are critical, in my view. So I think these are some of the learnings that we've got from the last 6-7 months.
Okay, thank you. Emmanuel, what's
Hello,
happening in
Peter.
Greece?
Peter, thank you so much. I need to say that thank you so much for giving the possibility to talk about Greece and cases about PMOs and project management. As you said, I'm ambassador in the PMO leader community, but as Kartik said also, my interest in this field came when I participated to the PMO hackathon of Global Alliance, and it was a special experience. Okay, this PMO hackathon. So from this time, I got involved in the community. Of course, it wasn't the PMO Global Alliance, but it was a PMO leader. I think this was the same. It would be maybe in the future end with PMO Global Alliance, so I will not differentiate these communities. And of course, I'm also a chapter leader of PMI Greece chapter. I should admit, and I have to be sincere for that in Greece we are in the birth phase yet in establishing PMOs and making PMOs successful. Of course, this comes also from the engagement in the field of the project management, because I think these disciplines, project management and PMOs, are something they, how to say, they combine both. Okay, so if you, and I say that because if you have in a company, an organization, culture of project management, and you give results from your way of managing the projects, then the PMOs will come. Of course, it's not one way; it's both ways. Okay. One first initiative that we did, and it was done from our local PMI Greece chapter, was a presentation and an event, the annual conference we did last November, where we had a session with ambassador, a leader ambassador from PMO community, from the PMO leader community, in order, of course, to advertise and promote the usability and the way that the PMOs can help organizations achieving their goals. Okay. So our main interest of this time is that we need in Greece, locally in communities north south, to promote and find the ways to promote and advertise how useful is to use project management in your life and in your professional working environment. That's the first step. Okay, and this is our goal right now, and of course, we need engagement, and this is a kind of the mindset that we have in Greece and in the local organizations and mindset in order to achieve this goal. Something very important that it was a discussion that we had in our chat with our colleagues in the panel. It is the education field. I think, and we in Greece we began several years before, is to educate young people from primary school and secondary school in project management and of course in PMOs. This is the base, I think. This is the base in order to to fix the culture, to to, to, to try to put project management and PMOs in our culture. So the education in the primary secondary school that already the PMI is doing with PMI education, EF organization, and putting courses in academia and teaching project management and and of course the PMOs, the value of PMOs is our first aim. For example, I'm doing my PhD and doctoral research in the university in Thessaloniki, where is my city. So we have an idea to this university to establish, and we are in the beginning again, Perth phase, to establish a project and a center of excellence in project management. So our goal and our vision is that this center of excellence will educate, of course, students, and in parallel will try to manage and give value to the research projects that the departments of the university will have to deliver. That's our efforts right now. As I said, we are in a birth phase, and we need more to find champions and engagement, more people in this field to promote PMOs and project management.
Thank you, Abdelbasset. I think you have some thoughts about the previous things. I heard all three other panelists, and I could see some connections in each and every parts what they were saying regarding mentoring PMOs, regarding a connection with education, regarding awards. So let's move on with you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, team. So thank you for this initiative and for the organization of this event. I think it will add another stone in the building of our PMO profession in this world which does not stop transforming all areas, all skills, day after day, as introduced this morning by Americo. So a great pleasure also to be member of this panel with my colleagues Louise, Kartikeyan, and Emmanouil, and you to share our lessons learned in terms of the local initiatives. So here in Algeria, as ambassador of the community of the PMO Global Alliance, our objective was always to do the most effective activities, honestly, to do them well and to promote this profession in this country, even if this profession, PMO, in Algeria is much more promoted by large companies and multinational companies in the telecom sectors, in the banking, FMCG, and so on. But our goal was to deal with the notion of the added value of the PMO for the small, medium-sized companies in their transformation journey, in order to measure the real impact of this profession. So, as the first initiatives we have launched with the team, with my colleague in the PMO Global Alliance in the Algerian chapter, Dr. Abdallah Almi, who participated in the competition PMO Global Awards and representing his company Total Comfort for the first time in 2020 and 2021, and representing also Algeria in this competition for the first time. This participation was more than honorable because Algeria was qualified in the semi-final of this competition for the first time. And it has been a great honor also for our country, and which has made us not only ambassadors of this community, but also ambassadors of this profession in Algeria. As the next step, so we have two targets. We have two targets. The first one, so we are also want to do the things differently and think outside the box. The idea is to initiate this profession at the level of Algerian universities and business schools. So we have started to keep contact with some universities and some business school in the capital, in order to have the PMO professions at the end of their studies as other professions, as internal audit, as the business monitoring, and so on. And what's the goal? Because we need to have the professions at the end of their studies ready for the professional challenge. That's the idea, allowing them to contribute to the development of the ecosystem in Algeria. The second project, or the second target is also the startups. There is a huge need of structuring and organize, and also to deliver the necessary support for those startups to elaborate their business plans and to present them to the stakeholders, to raising funds. And I think as PMOs, we have to play a huge role as service provider and make a big contribution inside the incubation centers. That's true. That's true that as other countries see 6 months, the path is very challenging. But we believe with the team that the PM will be a real game changer for the Algerian ecosystem.
Thank you. So, may I ask Louise about her thoughts about connecting PMO professionals with education, or education as a kind of target group for local PMO initiatives? What are your thoughts about it? As I know you have some connections with education.
Look, I work in a university, and I know it's really hard to get universities to talk to you. It's just terrible. It's just hard. I don't know about the others' experiences. I mean, I'm a lecturer in university. I actually, what I do is I take the videos, I take the learning. In fact, I'm running a module this week, first module on the MSc this next week. I have one of the City of Cape Town are coming in, and we're going to run a panel session with my master's students for them to share and learn about the amazing things that City of Cape Town PMO has done. But that's through me. I mean, I find it quite incredible. I have judges from universities in South Africa who think everything's wonderful, but they don't take it back into their universities. So it's hard. It's just hard to persuade them, but I think it's important. When I look back over the communities that we've hit, and we've been able to, in the first 2 years, we'd advertise this all the time. We'd still get people coming to us to say, I didn't know there was a competition. And that goes on and on. The communities that seem to be hard to get at, finance is usually easy because they look at LinkedIn and they see that type of thing. I think we've been underrepresented by government PMOs because often we just don't seem to be able to get at them. Local government, not so bad. Obviously, places like City of Cape Town, and you will have seen people like Dubai, Metropolitan, who also are in the competition. But getting at government departments is hard, and there are a lot of PMOs in government departments, and frankly, a lot of them could benefit from this approach. So, coming back to your question, universities are hard. I think, Emmanouil, you are doing your PhD. I think you're a natural boundary breaker into universities, and that gives you that opportunity. So you kind of need to find those people who can do that boundary spanning for you, because universities don't naturally reach out into business, which is a real shame.
Thank you. Just feel free to react to each other, because I felt a bit of question or semi-question raised towards Emmanuel. But okay, we
Yeah,
yeah.
I could.
If
Yeah,
you
Peter. Yes, I could. Of course, I agree with Louise. It's difficult. It's hard in the universities, but and the thing that we need to concentrate is to find people champions that we can to in order to realize this this vision. Of course. Anything is not easy, and but if we have this the passion, I believe we are, I believe that we are in a good Luis, we are in a good step. We in our how to say our effort to build this center of excellence. Our main goal is first to how to say to build a community, maybe you could say it, to focus in in this to study and to teach project management and the PMOs, of course. Okay, and afterwards is to give to this to the audience of this center of excellence, okay, the value that they require. Okay.
thank you. May I ask Kartik if within yeah. Just I heard that maybe somebody would like to add something. Okay, Kartik, is there any thoughts or initiative in India within the PMO Global Alliance India Hub to do something or deal with higher or even primary or secondary education?
Uh, good question, Peter. Today I think I will go back to Lewis's reference. It is, I mean, I will briefly touch upon the universities and then talk about maybe mid to senior high school. And I would just like to draw attention that as part of the PMI Bangalore chapter board, which I'm part of, I manage academic relations. So uh, I do have some sense of at least uh, with respect to one region on how this works. But I agree with Louis that generally the engagement is very hard, and I would also like to draw attention to the last 2 years, which have been both an opportunity and a challenge, because if I talk about a lot of the institutes, business schools, as Emmanuel was referring to, uh, sustaining the course and shifting between virtual and physical schooling, so to say, is primarily on the top of most institutions. So it is not the best environment. Maybe it could have been, but at least I sense that it was not an environment where we received openness to a lot of experimentation. But still, some institutes did do that, and I think for us the journey is even with the professionals. So I in India don't see enough um, or substantial research, paper publications, blogging. I mean, if I have to even get to that, not enough on even project management, leave alone PMO. So I would look to encourage that part to begin with, and because that's, let's say, more immediate, and then go towards schooling, which is a long term solution, which is where we should start. The challenge there is what Emmanuel was referring to is, while project management may come into the curriculum, let's say, more naturally than it came, let's say, 10-15 years back, it is still not as easy to establish the PMO as a skill story. So it's far more niche, and and then therefore, I would say has limited takers. So I think if you put all this together, the immediate focus for us, and we are forming a research group, or we have formed a research group, which is starting to look very, very nascent steps at what our target audience is going to look like. How do we encourage uh, publications? How do we encourage people to go towards research? How do we encourage people to share practices? So I think that would be the first step that we are working towards. We think when we start this, we do see interest from the academia. They are looking to collaborate when we bring this kind of topic. So I think, or we bring subjects that are, let's say, in the PMO area, and they are willing to collaborate. So I think the schooling part is interesting. I do think there is an opportunity clearly, because a lot of schools, I mean, a few schools in India have started project-based learning. And to me, there is a clear opportunity to talk about how do they go and do it. So if I see my son, for example, he's doing project-based learning, but I think some of the frustrations he has with, let's say, his project mates are exactly what I had with some of mine. So I think it would be great to kind of encourage them to get that view. But to be very candid, we are some distance away from that. But that's where we'd like to go.
Just
And just
Yes.
touching, sorry, I'll shut up. Louise, go ahead.
I just wanted to pick up on, you reminded me of the research side, and I think that's a really interesting area, particularly for master's level. I'm probably going to upset a few people here, but I think PMO work probably is master's level research, not PhD level, because I don't think you're going to discover anything new, but I might be wrong. And so I think master's level research in PMOs is fantastic. And if you think about what America was saying earlier, and we used one of America's papers that was done on value, which he was involved with when he was doing his PhD. And I think there's some really good things that maybe the communities can come to universities and suggest that maybe some of their master's students might be interested in it, like how do you measure value, which is one of the things America was talking about, as opposed to how do we measure process improvement. So I think that the research areas, and I've got a few students who have been involved, and I do try and encourage them on the PMO side because I do think it's a good research area. It's just bringing those two groups together.
Louise, I would like to add, Peter, here that there is a PhD, not in order to graduate as a PhD, but there is research about PMOs. Louise, I can, if you want, I can share it. There is several PMOs research.
Yes. No, there is. It's
in the universities, so in the academia. Yeah.
Yes. And as I say, I have some of my MSc students are doing research on the PMOs, and I think it's a good topic to do research on.
okay.
So, Peter,
Move on.
Okay, thank you. So I want just add one thing related to our responsibility, as professionals. So I think we need to be more proactive with universities, etc., and to be close from those institutions to present the simple things as projects. Maybe we can start with the internship, etc., to suggest some simple topic to what's the value of this of the PMO. Maybe we can also play the role as facilitator between the companies and also with the universities, etc. I think it's related to the communication and with the simple manner to do the things. So I think that's the point for this community, for those kind of communities. The second point, Peter, also, I think we have to do another thing about events, etc. So I have seen the last month that we have many competitions about the awards, etc. But what's the value of all those events and what we have to suggest for universities, classroom, etc. I think we have to create a simple link between those kind of those awards and also with universities and business school, and do the thing with the manner, with the simple manner. That's my point of view.
And we mustn't forget the PMO communities themselves outside of universities. One of the things that we now have done for the last 2 years, PPO has facilitated this, is the top 3 of our PMOs. They're in a schedule, which means they actually provide presentations to all of our PMO forums. And I think that's something that if you are doing it now, you should set that expectation of the PMOs that enter. I wonder if we can get rid of that word competition, that enter this process, and set their expectations that we would like them to share more broadly with other PMOs, with universities, just to set that expectation right from the start. And most of them enjoy it. I know that I had no problem in persuading City of Cape Town to come in and meet my students. They're happy to.
Yes, aligned, Louise, aligned with you. But I think we have double at this stage for all PMOs and around the world. I think we have a double challenge. We have to promote our profession, and in parallel we have to convince all the other stakeholders to accept these professions, etc. I think we have to do the things by priority and with the simple manner. That's only my point of view.
Yeah, yes.
And I think we have to find our city.
Well done for your activities. I appreciate.
And I was saying we need to find our own City of Cape Towns as well. So
Yeah. Okay.
They're there. They are there. I promise
yeah,
you.
they're definitely there. We just need to find them. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's a big country. It might take some time, but
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for the encouragement. Yeah.
yeah, you know, I'm positive about this. Actually, may I ask? I'm really interested in this about your point of view. What is the benefit for an individual who is doing this kind of volunteering activity? Who would like to do some local involvement in, I don't know, promoting PMOs within universities, or would like to do some researches on PMOs? What can be a benefit for an individual? You know, we are living in a business world. Everybody has a job, has a family. Why should they do these kind of volunteerings? Who would like to start?
I could start if Louise, is it okay? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I believe, Peter, most important is that if somebody has the passion to involve with project management and PMOs, this is the most important factor. Okay, and if you have this passion and you like what you are doing, after that you can take back. You give and take back. You network. You meet people. The pandemic maybe is a bad thing, but it's also a good thing because many people came around the world and we discuss, we share knowledge, and we how to say, as humans are growing. Okay, for me, especially this knowledge that I'm taking. Of course, this is my profession, and I'm a project management. I'm in the field more than 14 years. So I'm doing what I love, and this is matters. So of course I'm getting back, I'm giving, and I'm getting. This is my view, and that's all. The networking, the sharing with people, you meet people. That's for me value. Yes.
Okay. Anybody else has other thoughts?
Yeah.
ideas?
Yeah. So I would say there are two kinds of people we would, I mean, okay, shouldn't want to generalize that way, but I would say there are two kinds of people that get involved. One that are what Emmanuel was talking about, one that are passionate, are into the subject, are um, driven by it, and hopefully have the capability to sustain the passion over periods of time, which I think in volunteering is key. Which means that that you are you're true to the commitment that you've made, and you're clear about what that commitment is. The second is, we also, as at least as a hub, we've realized that we need to surround ourselves with people with some kind of expertise as well, because we don't necessarily, as a if I take myself, if you tell me that I need to go and look at um, selling or marketing, or doing digital marketing, I may not, I may think I'm really good at it, and I may have some followers to prove that, but do I really have the expertise? So I think there is an internal core layer that is on the mission, and then there is a supporting layer that is bringing these expertise that will enable the community to run. So I would think we would need both in the longer run for any community, actually.
One of the
Agree,
things,
disagree?
one of the things I set myself when I got involved as running the judging panel is I decided on an entry and an exit criteria, because I think it's incredibly important you have a way of passing it on to somebody else. Because if it becomes just about you, then it's not a sustainable process. And for me, it was they found me, I find PPO, finding an organization that would take on the sponsorship, and you have to grow, you have to kind of infect other people, I think, because it can't just be about you, whatever you are as a volunteer.
Peter, for me, I think the link is the win-win for between the individuals and also for the communities. Just an example, following our last experience in PMO Global Awards, because I was also the judge for this competition. So I have shared my lessons learned from my experience with the team, and with all participants, and also by email I have shared also my point of view about the competitors, etc., with other colleagues in the community. And also I have learned many things from the participant and also from the other judge. I think that's the key of success of this kind of communities. The second point is to develop also the network, and it's a great opportunity for individuals to develop the network. And just one example, so I have the contact with Peter, with Louise, with Emmanouil, with Kartikeyan. So following the PMO Global Awards, and following my membership in this community. And I think it's a great opportunity for all professionals to be members and to participate in this kind of initiatives, to add the value, and also to learn many things.
Yeah, thank you. So, can we simply say that, on one hand, it is for your passion, for your personal development, and on the long run, that means a kind of career growth? Uh, and there is the layer of networking, getting to know more people, which might mean, if I am interested in real benefits, that means that can lead again to better career and better positions. And if I am, for example, participating in helping other PMOs, that raise my reputation in one hand. On the other hand, that helps to evolve the economy, for example, local economy, which again means in the long run, better positions and more money for me. So, sorry, I just try to
Not in a
try the
university.
viewpoint. Yeah, try the viewpoint of a real opportunist, let's say. But yeah, um, okay. Oh, thanks a lot for sharing this. Um, if you, if I remember during our chat, it was raised that what about those PMO professionals, those areas which are rural, which are less developed, which are economically less developed? What can, let's see, what can they do in their local position, or can we or other local initiatives help them? For example, what can I don't know you do, Abdelbasset, if we are talking about some PMO professionals in the southern part of your country, if there is any PMOs in the southern part of your country in Algeria. Um, so do you have some ideas, or maybe if you can share, if you have other ideas for the future, for what kind of local initiatives can be, please share.
Okay. Yep. As I said, I think we have a hashtag here in Algeria. So actually, is the startups, and there is a great focus about that to change the ecosystem and to develop also the economy. And I think we have to play the role to more organize the things as think tank, as a center of excellence, as mentioned by Emmanouil, or another type of PMO. But I think we have to deliver more support to the startups in the incubation centers, because there is a huge need to organize and to train the entrepreneurs, etc., and to thrive also this mindset of agile mindset of the PMOs, etc. That's one, the first point. The second point also, Peter, is our challenge. I think here in Algeria also is to change the game into the companies and their perception of this profession for many sectors. So I think we have the bad perception of this profession. Why? Because it's related to the value of this kind of profession, and we have to do great effort with the PMO Global Alliance and with the all network to set up the new mindset, to set up the new tools and new methods to promote this profession in Nigeria. And we have two priorities for this year, and all the team of the community will do the best to set up those targets.
I think there's another, there's a wonderful initiative came out of Germany called the mentoringclub.com, and it's all pro bono. It's people who offer mentoring. It has a project management arm to it, but it does other things like engineering. I can't help thinking there's something we could do in the PMO community. And it could be local, it could be global. I mean, the software they use is fantastic. It's almost like a speed dating process. You can find a mentor who has a particular interest you have in. I've learned a lot from working, particularly with young project managers going into the career. I wonder whether there's something there that, as groups, we could find something.
I mean, Louise, I think that makes complete sense. But I think it's a question that we have to ask ourselves also on what local means in this world. Now, and I'm sorry if I have to wear my technologist hat once in a while, but I think the combination of the fact that we've lived the last 2 years, largely remotely. And leveraging some of this, I think the definition of local is changing. So I think the the ideas, for example, I really liked Abdul's idea about PMO for the, mentoring for the SMEs in terms of building their capability. I think just great. Now that could be very local, but then if, for example, I have a platform where I'm sharing experience, that while it may be belonging to India Hub, could be global in its in its setup. We could bring people from anywhere to speak and share. And so, to me, we have to also discerningly look at what is local and what is global, and to the countries and to the entities that are starting up. I think we are all each other's arms. We need to give that support, whether it's through mentoring or through other mechanisms. But I think for themselves, they need to realize that the boundaries of are not necessarily limited for everything. So I think we need to reassess what local and global means. And I know Peter and we have been having a little bit of a bout on this subject. So on a lighter note, but I think we really need to assess what that means for us as a hub, as a team, whatever.
Okay. Thank you very much for your for sharing your point of view and for sharing your experience on local initiatives. Actually, we've reached the end of our time. I mean, regarding this session. So I really would like to say thanks. Thank you for your participation. And as I can see, we have one. It is not a question. Actually, it is a comment from Gaurav that he said that our academia, I assume, it's the academia initiative of PMO Global Alliance India Hub will expand and will cover it. I assume this was an answer or a more detailed answer of a point which was raised during our conversation at the beginning of this discussion. So again, thank you very much for your participation. And actually, this was a really nice end note from Kartik. And I would say that this might lead us to our next session, which will start within 25 minutes. That that basically we are living in a global community. Everybody is connected. The world is so small, and it is really easy to build a global community, actually. And well, let's see our next session about global communities. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
If
you, Peter.
if anybody of the attendees is interested in local initiatives, do not hesitate to reach out our panelists or reach out your local contacts within PMO Global Alliance or the PMO leader, or even reach out your local PMI chapter as well, if they might know some PMO initiatives locally. And thank you very much again. See you in the next session.